Hey there, I'm Will West and welcome to Impact Investor. Have you been looking at today's market and wondering, is this the right time to invest? Believe me, you are not the only one. Investing these days can seem like such a terrifying prospect. There's so much risk involved. Do you even dare to take a chance? And how can you know that the money you invest is safe? The short answer is, you can't. However, I'm here to teach you some basics about investing that will help you make the best investment decisions in your investing journey. In this video, you will learn about types of investment and different levels of risk. After watching this video, you should have a better understanding on investing basics, and also make sure to watch until the end of the video, because I have prepared a little surprise for you which should definitely help you in your investing journey. The first thing you have to understand is what an investment is. Now, according to Webster's dictionary, an investment is the outlay of money, usually for income or profit. In layman's terms, it's an item or asset attained to produce income. There are two ways in which an investment can be made: economical and financial. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, these two terms sound the same. And well, in a sense, you are correct. Both require something to be bought. However, it's the type of asset that is bought that determines if an investment is economical or financial. Economic investments are, by definition, additions to capital stock of the company. Think about a juicer for a lemonade stand to make more juice to sell, or that new Tesla Gigafactory to make more Tesla cars. Both of them are considered economic investments. Financial investment, on the other hand, is a monetary asset bought on the premise that it produces income later or is sold later for a profit. Think about house flipping, for example. You buy a condo for $200,000, wait for a nice real estate bubble to inflate, and then sell it for $300,000, giving you an easy $100,000 profit. And that worked out just perfectly in 2008, right guys? Or, for example, Bitcoin bought for $100 and sold for $10,000. Or a stock bought with the goal of producing dividends. I think you get the idea. All of those are financial investments. Before we move on, I just want to let you know that this is a new channel focused on investing for beginners with the goal of helping you reach the best decisions in your investing journeys. If you would like to learn more useful investing tips in the future, please be so kind and gently tap on that big red subscribe and the bell button. That will tell the big YouTube brain to show you any new useful investing videos in the future that will help you succeed in your investing endeavors. And now, let's talk about investment basics. Bear in mind that an investment will always involve some kind of an asset, be it money, time, determination, or something else, with the goal of getting some kind of a reward. If you want to become an investor, you have to know what type of investment you are making. As an investor, you put your money to work for you. You use the money to begin or develop a project or buy an asset that will produce income and increase its value. Remember, an investment uses any kind of method to produce potential income. Income potential investments can range from buying of stocks, bonds, real estate, or even brick-and-mortar stores in order to create goods. The term investment is applicable to so many things. If you think something can be an investment, you're probably right. In fact, learning about investing with the desire to produce future income can be seen as an investment in itself. For instance, any investing in stocks for beginners classes or webinars you take can be considered an investment. After all, you spend money in hopes of using the information to generate even more money. If you have been watching the stock market over the last 3 months, you may be hesitant to risk your hard-earned cash. Yes, investing is risky. You don't know if it will work out in your favor or not. It would be nice if there was some kind of a guarantee, but I can assure you there is no such thing in financial markets. After all, a business that looks prosperous today could fail tomorrow. There is absolutely no guarantee. This is a difference between investing and saving. Saving means there is no risk to the money you're accumulating, except for inflation, of course. Investing means using that money to garner more money, and that comes with a risk, my friend. Are you a risk taker, or would you rather take the side of caution? And now, let's talk about levels of risk in investments. Risk is one of the basic pillar stones of investing. Any potential returns have to be viewed in context with the risk involved. Investors generally expect higher returns from riskier investments. When a low-risk investment is made, the return is generally also low. For beginner investors, this can pose a huge problem, since they often have trouble determining the risk of their potential investment. Despite how crucial risk is to investment, there is no single definition of what risk actually is and how to measure it. Many investors believe that volatility is a good way to measure risk, and to a certain extent that makes sense. Volatility indicates how much an asset can move over time. If the range of possible moves is extremely wide, well, then there is a high chance that some of those moves will be really bad. Also, it's actually quite easy to measure volatility. While measuring volatility can be useful, I don't recommend using it as the only tool when searching for potential investments. It's true that volatility exposes the investor to harsher turbulence during the investor's flight, but it doesn't indicate what is the chance of an actual crash. A better way to think about risk is to consider what are the chances of the asset crashing completely or providing returns below investors' expectations. In general, we can divide investments by risk into 3 large buckets. High-risk investment is the first bucket. Now, let's see some examples of high-risk investments. Again, these evaluations are relative, but I'm talking about the general consensus here. First are the options and futures. These financial instruments are meant for experienced traders and speculators, not for the average beginner investor. Please stay away if you don't know what you are doing. It is very easy to lose your capital when dealing with options and futures. If you are interested in learning more about these financial instruments, please let me know and I will make more videos about them in the future. But they definitely fall out of the realm of Investing for Beginners 101. The second high-risk investment are things like Ethereum, Monero, Litecoin, Decred, IDENA, Tron, Dash, Neo. You might be wondering, are those Pokemons or superheroes maybe? Neither actually. Those are cryptocurrencies, most notable one of them being granddaddy of them all, Bitcoin. Please understand that they are extremely risky investments, and unless you know what you are doing and have spare play money allocated to such investments, I would suggest staying away. With cryptocurrencies, you are not only exposed to price volatility, but also to the risks of exchanges getting hacked, being scammed, or simply losing access to your funds. It's not fun and it happens way too often to count. And now onto the next category in high-risk investments. Collectibles are another form of high-risk investment. You might have heard the good old story about a rare baseball card or comic book being long lost in parents' basement and then selling for millions at an auction. We hear these stories all the time, but reality is there's no foolproof way to determine which comic book, figurine, painting or antique vase will sell for multiples of its original price. Even if it is one of the kind, do you really have the knowledge to determine what it will sell for decades later? And will it have any value at all? The Beanie Baby mania of 1995 proved to many that counting on shiny collectibles to make you rich is not always the best financial decision, and here is some proof of that.
Because I guess lost a lot of money.
Please, don't be this guy. If you are a beginner investor yet you want to try your hand in any of these high-risk investments, remember the golden rule when it comes to high-risk investments. Never invest more money than you can afford to lose. The general rule of thumb would be not to invest more than 5% of your total portfolio. And now onto the medium-risk bucket. Real estate, for one, can be included in medium-risk bucket, but even then it's context-dependent and can reach exorbitant prices during a bubble. During housing bubble in Japan in the early 90s, grounds under Tokyo's Imperial Palace were assessed at a value greater than the entire state of California. Can you imagine absurdity of that level? Soon after, the market crashed and never recovered to the same heights again. So please be careful even when considering real estate investments. Always look at the broad picture. Next item in the medium risk bucket are equity mutual funds. A mutual fund is an open and professionally managed investment fund that pools money from many investors to purchase securities. Mutual funds have advantages and disadvantages compared to direct investing in individual securities. Advantages of mutual funds include economies of scale, diversification, liquidity, and professional management. Portfolios in mutual funds usually consist of stocks, bonds, and other securities. Since the majority of money in employer-sponsored retirement plans goes into mutual funds, you might actually be investing in a mutual fund without knowing it. Important thing to consider with mutual funds is that they charge annual fees and in some cases commissions, which can affect their overall returns. Next item in medium risk category is large and small cap stocks. Again, valuation of these particular stocks can vary greatly and it is all context dependent. Sometimes a specific company's stock can go into a bubble, putting it in high risk category. And when dealing with individual companies, risk of bankruptcy is also there. Do you recall Enron? Billionaire Warren Buffett and Vanguard founder Jack Bogle also don't recommend stock picking for beginner and average investors. Instead, they suggest buying a low-cost index fund that tracks movement of the entire S&P 500, which is a stock market index that measures the stock performance of 500 largest companies listed on stock exchanges in the United States. To diversify even more, some portion of assets depending on the person's age and risk tolerance should be in low-cost bond index fund. Warren Buffett even instructed the trustee in charge of his estate to invest 90% of his money into the S&P 500 index fund for his wife after he dies, with the remaining 10% to be invested in short-term government bonds. Speaking of bonds, these generally belong in the third low-risk bucket. These are your United States Treasury bonds, bank accounts, certificates of deposit, notes, bills, cash and cash equivalents, and similar assets. Problem with low-risk investments like these is that while they indeed have foreseeable returns, these returns are also very low compared to returns in higher-risk buckets. Sometimes it's not even possible to beat inflation by investing only in low-risk assets. Ideally, you want to have an asset that has a good risk-to-reward ratio. You want something that is low-risk and promises high reward at the same time. But please understand that this is what everyone in the market is after. And as a beginner investor, opportunities like these are not easy to find at all. So what are the main things you have to remember about investing? In summary, remember that an investment means you must use the money to begin working or expanding on a project, business, or buying an asset in hopes of producing profit. Simply put, it's designed to give you some kind of a financial return, but also has inherent risk involved. The most common types of investment include credit assets, real estate, stocks, and bonds. For a beginner investor, stock and bond market index funds are a solid choice when it comes to passive investing. It removes the risk of choosing the wrong stock as you are buying the market as a whole. And now on to you, fellow impact investor. Here's a little quiz to test your knowledge. Imagine that our friend Jenny here has saved up $5,000 streaming on Twitch or whatever, and is considering putting this money to work in the stock market. She wants a low-risk investment and can't make a choice between buying A. Amazon stock and B. S&P 500 index fund. Amazon stock seems to have performed great in the past. Jeff Bezos seems to know what he's doing and is highly likely that this company will be around for a long time. S&P 500 index fund is a mix of top 500 publicly traded stock companies in the United States. But Jenny doesn't know much about each company in the S&P 500 basket. Which choice would you recommend Jenny to make if she wants to make a low-risk investment? Please write in the comments and tell me why. And now for the surprise I promised. You don't need sophisticated tools to easily determine the right proportions of your portfolio. I have prepared an easy-to-use tool in form of Google Sheets which you can use to track your portfolio. Follow the link on the screen or in the description to get free access to this tool. I also included a tutorial how to use and customize it. It's simple, but it works, and it will allow you to easily determine which assets to buy or sell during your rebalancing periods or during the initial purchase. If you know someone who is planning to invest in the stock market or who is already doing it and could use such a tool, please share this video with them and see what they think. Thank you for watching, and until next time.